You can't just necessarily launch your website and expect people just to show up. That's not necessarily how it works. But your website can be really great for lead generation. I feel like if people only saw it, they would hire me. I'm going to talk about some great strategies to get more out of it, to create evergreen marketing strategies and really give you better results. Welcome to the Media Books Podcast, the only place on the internet where creative accounting isn't a bad thing. Owning a virtual firm today means having a professional and modern online presence, and in this podcast, we talk about how to do just that. My name is Kristen Corey, and I'm the owner of Media Books, a media agency that provides creativity exclusively to accounting firms. And if you're an accounting firm owner, you're in the right place. Let's get into it. Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Media Books Podcast. In this podcast episode, I am going to talk about how to use your website to gain more leads. It doesn't matter whether I am in a Facebook group or LinkedIn, on Instagram, people always have this one question, and it also doesn't matter what industry. They always have this one question is, how do I generate more leads? And if you look at the responses, usually they are lackluster. They don't really give you the sort of information and the specific tools and resources that you need. They lack context. For example, there's going to be like the CPA that says, they grew their business through referrals, but they fail to mention that they have been well connected in their community for years and they've been building relationships. And so when they decided to launch their business, they already had all these people that they were connected with and that trusted them. They had a bunch of warm leads that were sort of ready to go and pull for the CPA who just started his business. Or the person that said they hired an agency failed to mention that they were really aggressive with their marketing strategy or how much they paid and that it actually took them some time to get things going and things didn't turn around month one for them. Sometimes the sort of quick and easy answer doesn't give all the details as far as how you can actually generate leads and get things going with all these strategies. And so my hope with this podcast is to really talk about how you can generate leads specifically with your website, but I also want to manage your expectations. So for example, we're going to talk about SEO, but you can't talk about SEO without having some of these disclaimers. So talking about things like SEO takes time. It takes about 4 to 6 months just to begin to see results from SEO. And so we're going to get all into that, but I first want to go over some headlines. So I was scrolling through my different news sites and I came across what I thought would be an interesting marketing opportunity for accountants specifically who want to partner with a specific niche. And so I thought I would pass this along as something that maybe isn't talked about too much, but could be a potential opportunity for you. So one of the sites that I scroll through is Sprout Social. It is an app where you can schedule social media content. They do analytics, a bunch of great stuff for marketers. And they had a section on their blog titled Influencer Marketing Budget Template. I thought it sounded interesting, clicked on it. You had to share your email and they sent it to you. And this download is actually pretty basic. It's a great lead magnet. It's a great opportunity, but essentially this is something that really anyone can create. And frankly, I think even like a marketer can create this. It's not very complicated. It's just branded really well. It's very easy to read and clear. It has one tab with an introduction and instructions. It has a second tab with a table of like the influencers that you would reach out for your marketing, and then columns for different data points like content creation costs, estimated reach, partnership status column. There's color-coded menu options. And then it has a third tab with a spend tracker, and it really just allocates all the costs to each month so that you can then see a budget versus actual. So it's an insanely basic document that they put together. And as I said, a marketer could do this and it's very easy to digest and read, but this could be a really great opportunity for you to find a niche website, someone that you want to work with, a group that you want to work with. Find their website that serves your specific audience and offer to do one of these exchanges. See if they will let you collect emails from it. You can obviously put that This is a budget sponsored by your firm, created by you. But if you find a website that pulls a lot of traffic that has very similar audience to you, this could be a really great partnership for you adding more value, making their website and their blog or, wherever they want to post it more robust. But I thought it was actually a really interesting way to kind of partner with someone and find something unique. Because these documents, they're really great sort of downloads and not clickbait. I don't want to use that word. Useful things. I don't know. I was interested in it and I could create this myself, but definitely something that I think a lot of people would be interested in, something that you can definitely put together in an afternoon, adds a ton of value. And if you actually want to check out the download, get some inspiration, I have it linked in my show notes. Okay, so you know that a website is important. You built one for yourself. Let's say you launched it. You set it off, it's public. You had this idea that maybe I'll build it and they will come. And then maybe the views didn't come in. The new leads didn't come in. And you're kind of like, what was the point of this website if I did all this work? Well, the thing is, you can't just necessarily launch your website and expect people just to show up. That's not necessarily how it works. But your website can be really great for lead generation. And specifically when you integrate it into your marketing strategy, it is supposed to be your virtual storefront. It should be a place where all your other marketing strategies sort of focus in on your social media, your email campaigns. This is kind of a great place to collect everyone or sort of refocus. So for example, someone from social media goes to your website and you want to find out more ways to connect with them. It's a great place to show that you have a podcast or you have email campaigns. Your website is a great place to sort of do that shift or collect. Having said that though, there are a lot of strategies for people who want to just adopt cold leads on their website and turn them into warm leads. And so really the question is, what is the benefit of this? Why would I follow this sort of strategy as opposed to social media or doing a podcast or starting email campaigns or doing ads? If you have a website that you love, this is a really great way to get more out of it. So you love your website, you feel like if people only saw it, they would hire me. I'm going to talk about some great strategies to get more out of it, to create evergreen marketing strategies and really give you better results for your analytics there. Another great benefit is that when I tell people to focus on different social media platforms for their marketing strategy, one of the things I tell them to consider is to consider a social media platform that you are already comfortable with, which is great if you're already comfortable with a social media platform. But if you don't use social media enough, or there's no app where you feel like you can easily go on and just adopt the different trends, this is another option. So first thing that I want to talk about when it comes to generating leads on your website is SEO. I know SEO has been a little bit controversial, especially since the recent, boom in AI, but SEO is definitely alive and well, just as much as Google is alive and well. SEO stands for search engine optimization. And it's the idea that when someone goes to Google and they search for anything, so if they search for how do I read my balance sheet or accounting firms near me, the idea is that your business pops up, right? So Google or search engines, they look at a ton of factors when determining how they want to rank and stack these different websites. And frankly, they consider more factors than you can easily summarize in a podcast episode or in a blog post, which is why it feels like there's always so much more you can do when it comes to SEO. It feels like it's never ending. But before we get into how to build your SEO, there's a few disclaimers I want to talk about. First off, SEO takes time. You can have a fully optimized SEO website day one. That doesn't mean you're going to see results day one. And why is that? Because something that SEO does also consider is your history. So if you are launching your website day one and you don't have history, well, then there's nothing you can do. It's kind of like a credit report. If you open a credit card, it's you're 18 years old. It's day one of having a credit card. You have no credit, but you also need time to build credit. That's what SEO essentially is. You need time to build up a reputation in Google, even if your website is fully SEO optimized. The second thing is SEO is not always black and white. There's always something more you can do to optimize SEO. So again, even if you think your website is fully optimized for SEO, there's always opportunities to advance it. One example of this is backlinks. Backlinks are taken into consideration when Google decides how valuable your website is or how it should be ranked. And backlinks are essentially the number of places online that reference your website. So Google is going to say, oh, this, website is frequently talked about all over the internet. They must have a lot of really great content, a lot of good opportunities. They're trustworthy. We're going to reference them more often. Now, there's not a limit to how often you can be referenced on the internet. So the more backlinks you put, the more you can optimize your SEO. So that's something else to consider. The third thing is that, third sort of disclaimer I have is that good SEO starts with good web design. It just starts with creating a good user experience. SEO can get complicated really quickly. So before you get into strategies and like all this advanced like keywords and backlinks even, at a more basic level, just know good SEO equals good web design. When your users have a good experience on your website, meaning your website loads at a reasonable speed, the content is easy to digest, your buttons work, the content on your pages relate to what people expect to see. So if they click on services pages, they're going to see your list of services. If they click on an about page, they're going to learn more about your firm. Make sure that you just give people a good experience when they visit your website. Having said all that, how you can bring leads in to your website with SEO. I mentioned starting with the basics, and I said start with good web design. And so I'm going to assume that your website is already up and running. What do you do then? You have this good website that gives people a good experience. It's up, it's loaded. What's the next step? What are you missing? So one thing SEO considers is how often your website is active or bringing in people. And one great way to do that or keep your website active is to create reoccurring content. I know it's another place you have to create content, but remember, this is one strategy for someone that doesn't want to necessarily be on social media, or they want to have a strategy that focuses on specifically their website. And so one way you can create content is with articles, maybe covering current topics, or a podcast. Those are two great ways to consistently post content to your website. And if you think of the internet like a giant lake, the potential leads that you can be working with are fish in this lake. Every blog post or podcast episode that you post, it's like a line going out into the lake. It's a chance for people to run into your website, to find you, to discover you, and then be led back to your website, your homepage, your base, fall more and more in love with you as they sort of begin to learn more about you and your firm. And once you have the idea of content that you want to publish, and you have this idea of, okay, this is how I'm going to start to connect with people, sort of branch my website out, that's when you want to start planning your content. You want to start answering questions like, how often are you going to post? What kind of content are you going to create? How will your content speak specifically to your audience? Do you want to be funny? Do you want to be really matter of fact? Do you want to have bullet points? What is going to be the format? Start to consider all those things. Get really organized. Use Excel. I know you love Excel. Get templates going, create processes, and then figure out a way to stay consistent with your posting. Then, when you're ready to begin creating content, consider keywords. Keywords are used strategically throughout your content to signal to Google that your content would appeal to someone searching for your type of content. So, for example, if you write a blog post about how to read a balance sheet, you want to make sure that in your article or podcast, frankly, you are using words like balance sheet or how to read balance sheet or other synonyms for, how to and balance sheet. Get organized with your keywords and then start strategically incorporating them into your content. I talk a lot about keywords whenever I talk about SEO. And so it can sometimes be difficult to know exactly what a keyword is or how to find the right keywords. And I actually talk about that in some of my previous podcast episodes. Highly recommend checking out episode 235 or 225. I talk about an app called SEMrush. And in those episodes, I talk about how to use this app to generate keywords for your website. But yeah, find keywords and get strategic with using them. Another way that you can get more leads to your website or use your website to get more leads is with paid ads. Paid ads can be really intimidating, and if done incorrectly, they can cost you a ton of money. And I've attempted paid ads in the past, and they can get expensive quick, but they can also be very effective. They're something where if it's, if you upload your ad incorrectly, or you don't optimize just the right way, or you don't fully, if you do a Facebook ad, but you don't use the pixel, you could be missing out on opportunities. And so paid ads are pretty complex, but again, they can be effective. Some of the sort of paid ad opportunities that you have, One is social media ads. You can post advertisements that go directly to your website. This is really going to be dependent on, what you want to do with your website, what you're promoting. Choosing the right platform is also going to be dependent on your audience. So is your audience more likely to be on LinkedIn versus Instagram versus Facebook? How much should you spend on ads, and what should your ad be promoting? These are all things that you need to consider. More so, I would say that with social media ads than some of the other ads that I'm going to talk about. I used to run ads on social media in the past, and it's definitely works great for a lot of people. It's not my preferred way to run ads. I've just found that there's some other ways that I like more, frankly. But social media ads is definitely one way that you can draw people to your website. Another option is Google Ads. Google has a ton of different ways that you can run ads with video content, just photos, just words. And it really kind of gives you a lot of flexibility as far as how you want to show your business. One option is with display ads. These are great because they're pay per click. So meaning you will only get charged if someone actually clicks on your ad. Display ads are the things that show up in like the margin of a website that you visit. So if someone clicks on it, then you get charged. If someone just sees it though, it's actually just a great way to raise brand awareness. So what does that mean? Let's say someone has heard about your firm or heard about your webinar or whatever it is you're promoting. They see your ad in the margin. Maybe they click on it. Maybe they don't. Maybe you get charged. The point is they've seen your brand a little bit and they just become more aware of you. And even if they're not ready to buy from you today, maybe down the line when they are ready to buy, they remembered the display ad that you posted. Another way that you can advertise with Google is with search ads. And this is actually my preferred way to advertise with Google. And a search ad is essentially when, let's say you do a Google search, usually the first couple of results will say ad next to them. That's a search ad. People have paid to show up in the first couple search results. And what I like about these is that you're really showing up at the perfect time. You're showing up when people are specifically looking for a bookkeeping firm near them. So showing up in search ads can be a really great way to catch people just at the right time. However, they can also be very expensive. For example, if you own a bookkeeping firm in Dallas, Texas, and you are competing against every other bookkeeping firm potentially in Dallas, Texas that is also running search ads. And so in order to do that, you bid for that space. You bid for the space to show up in the first couple of results. So it can be expensive, but it also can be, again, highly effective. With any of these types of ads, you can direct them to your website. It can be a great way to kind of increase your traffic and increase SEO. Another paid ad strategy that is quickly becoming popular, and maybe you didn't think of when I first started talking about paid ads, is influencers. Influencers are quickly becoming a favorite for many, and including myself. They can be somewhat inexpensive, but it's almost like getting a guaranteed referral that can help you build credibility. If you are considering influencer marketing, you're definitely not going to just want to pick anyone that offers advertising space. You want to find someone that has an audience that is very similar to yours, where when you have them promote your business, they're going to be talking to people that you want to work with. So if you serve dog walkers and you find a lawyer for dog walkers or a web designer for dog walkers, and they have a place where they do ads or they run influencer advertising, that could be a great opportunity to do a paid ad. It's also going to be less technical than some of the other options like social media ads or Google ads. So that is another great way to kind of drive people to your website. Like so many remote workers, I am picky when it comes to my tech. I want a simple user interface, something that integrates with all the apps I'm already using, and I don't want to be nickel and dimed for every feature. I have run campaigns for plenty of accounting firms and used nearly every app under the sun, but for the past 4 years, I have been using Flodesk at MediaBooks. Flodesk offers a minimalistic user interface that does not cut back on any features. With workflows, automations, email campaigns, and advanced analytics, all for one price, I have no plans on switching anytime soon. And if you want to check out Flodesk, you can get 50% off for your first year by simply clicking the link in the show notes. Another strategy for using your website to turn those cold leads into warm leads is to make your website a tool. This also does relate to SEO, but you need to be a bit wise with your strategy and how it relates to SEO and kind of have multiple moving pieces. So meaning you have to actually post somewhere else continuously, like a social media app, about this tool in order to bring people in. But the idea is that you're using your website to get people to come to your website. So earlier when I talked about benefits, I talked about if you really like your website and you want to get more out of it, this is definitely one of the ways to do that. Not only does using your website as a tool give you the chance to sell to the people showing up on your website, but it also gives you the chance to increase your SEO traffic. So if your SEO traffic is increasing because more and more people are coming to your website, Google is going to think, wow, this website is very valuable. It's bringing in people. People are finding it interesting. People are finding it useful. It must have a lot of value. That's great. And it's only going to help your website move up in the rankings as far as how you're listed in Google. And when I say make your website a tool or have a tool on your website, what am I talking about specifically? Earlier, when I mentioned SEO, I talked about having a blog or a podcast. The problem with those different strategies is that you need to continuously create content. So if you want to write on a weekly basis, if we want to do a podcast on a weekly basis, just like social media, it's something you need to do consistently. But again, it can be very difficult if you're busy. So what you do instead to make a tool is create a space on your website that people can continuously visit and you can continuously promote, like a calculator. In our, headline of the day, I talked about doing like a budget for a specific audience, budget, calculator. Those are all in the same sort of realm. Something that you can create on Excel where people just have to put a few data points in and it generates something great. Another option is a resources page where maybe you have a bunch of apps and you list things like QuickBooks or Calendly, TaxJar, all the different things that you use and you talk about in your social media. You can have a resources page for where you link out to all these different great tools that you use. Bonus points if they're affiliate links. It's another great way to make just a little bit of additional income. Another tool that you can use is actually doing like a dictionary of accounting terms and just simplifying them, or a dictionary of common tax credits that people can consider. Just something that people can consistently go back to, or you can consistently refer to in your content. The idea is to create something that you can just keep talking about and promote, and it doesn't necessarily need to be updated on a regular basis. And the last point that I want to talk about when really trying to get people to go to your website is to actually talk about your website. A lot of times we create our websites and then we don't use them. I'll see people, they have this great website, but they forget to promote it on their email campaigns, on their social media, or they have their website, but they also don't use it. So they don't use it as necessarily a place for their clients to go to with things like payment links or client portals, or, if you want to create a welcome guide with videos and places that your clients can learn more about you, your website can be a great platform for that as well. Maybe you want to start an affiliate program. Maybe you want to start creating opportunities where you can be an influencer and advertise for other people. Everything that you want to do in your business and promote externally should be on your website, whether that's partnerships, leads, clients, whoever it is. Everything that goes on in media books, you can find on our website. And the thing is, I don't just use it to generate leads. I also use it to build partnerships. I use it to stay connected with my current clients. I have a resources tab on there where I talk about all the different apps and things that I'm using. Find different ways to sort of generate traffic on your website beyond just, hey, go look at my website for the services I have. Really try to figure out, okay, what can I put on my website that makes, the tax partner that my bookkeeping firm partners with, how can I bring my tax partner into my website and talk about them? Maybe I have a page where I specifically promote them and they think it's great, so they want to have me on their website. Or, maybe I have a partnership with a nonprofit in the area and they help give me leads and I give them leads. And so I want to talk about them on their website. Figure out more ways to make your website more robust. It's going to give you more opportunities to promote it. And then also just remember to promote it. Your website is not something that should be stagnant. It should be something that's alive and moving, and you're constantly talking about a place you're constantly hanging out at. Remember, your website is your virtual storefront. Our new web design process takes 2 weeks. Yeah, you can have your website up in less than a month, which means you can finish your website before you finish your tax returns. Who would have thought? The thing about our process is we get super organized, which means we can only take a certain number of clients each week. So if you're looking to get your website up soon, schedule a consultation with us to learn more about our availability. After the consult, I will send you a proposal and reserve your date. Schedule your consult by visiting MediaBooksAgency.com. MediaBooks, the only place on the internet where creative accounting isn't a bad thing.